The chairman of the Yothu Yindi Foundation says treaties are unlikely in his lifetime as the annual Garma festival is about to get underway in the Northern Territory. It's the first major gathering of Indigenous leaders since the failed voice referendum, and there is a strong focus on renewal. The ABC's Dan Borsha is there and he joins us now. Hi there, Dan. Some pretty strong comments there from Jawa Yunupingu.
Hey, Kath, they certainly are, and it's good to be with you here from Yolngu country on the lands of the Gumatj people. The incredible Gulkula in Arnhem land, where so many people are gathering to talk about the future, but really also reflecting on the most immediate past. And those comments that were made by the chairman of the Yothu Yindi Foundation, Jawa Yunupingu, to my ABC colleague Dana Morse, were incredibly strong in looking to the future. And of course, the questions that have remained for so many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people since the failed voice referendum last year are about what are the mechanisms to play a greater role in Australian public life. And there are people that speak to treaty, others to truth-telling, and of course we're seeing mechanisms around voice and representation in different forms across the nation. But it was very clear from the tone of what we heard from Jawa Yunupingu that the discussions about treaty seem to have been flawed and seem to have taken a back seat. Here he is.
Treaty is always on the mind, but it's a long way off, to be honest myself. You're looking at probably 30, 40 years. I won't be here. But it's a good way that we talk to treaty.
And of course, the timing of this is incredibly important, Kath. Right now, we are in caretaker mode here in the Northern Territory for an election that some across the Territory have been talking of as incredibly consequential about future relations between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and other Territorians. There is a new Federal Minister for Indigenous Australians, Malarndirri McCarthy, who of course comes from Yanyuwagagju country, not too far from here in the Northern Territory. And there's a lot of expectation about the role that Minister Malarndirri McCarthy will bring in this new role. Of course, we are likely under 12 months from a federal election and 10 months since, of course, the failed referendum.
Yeah, of course, really important points there, Dan. Onto the theme of this year's Garma. It's fire, strength and renewal. I know you know the program inside out and you would have earmarked where you can attend and where you've got to work. What can people expect?
Well, you do really get the sense that the focus of this Garma is about that sense of renewal. There will be a lot of discussion about the next raft of Indigenous leaders stepping into the public spotlight, having big conversations about the future. And of course, fire is a very important totem to the Gumatj people here. It's both about renewal and having the effect on the land of creating new life. But of course, it's that land that instills such a sense of purpose for the Gumatj people here. And so we're going to get a real exploration of what that means and how that plays out and what that will look like into the future. Of course, there will be a very big focus on politics. The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, will be speaking, giving a keynote address tomorrow. And we know there'll be an extraordinary conversation about federal politics and how that all plays out. But there is also a big focus on health, on well-being, on education. We saw this week the latest snapshot of the closing the gap targets, with many of those going backwards and in fact not only sitting still but getting worse in some instances as well. So I expect that we'll be hearing a lot more about that. This afternoon though, Kath, we'll be seeing the spiritual and cultural start at the Bungal, where there'll be an incredible amount of dancing, and that's really a way of stories being shared from one generation to the next. The late Yunupingu described the Bungal ground where that ceremony happens as the universities for the Yolngu people. So what we are going to be seeing today is a real stepping into that culture and understanding the way that has played out for tens of thousands of years and how that instills a sense of self in the next generation, Kath.
Yeah, wonderful intersection of culture, ceremony and of course those critical conversations that you mentioned there, Dan. Good to see you up there. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks.